This is a quick performance installation video for K10644. That is a Sanden HD bracket being bolted onto the front of a Big Block Chevy. We're going to bolt this bracket onto the passenger side cylinder head in the 3 bolt holes here. Now, usually and almost always these are 7/16 here, but there has been some variations over the years here. This will either be 3/8 or 7/16. Whichever way that is, we have the bolt that you need in the kit. We'll begin with some pre-assembly here. Here and here are the lower bolt holes on the cylinder head, so we'll use 7/16 there. Now on our 454, we have a 3/8 bolt here, and so we'll slide that in there. Turn the bracket over. We're going to load that up with our longer spacers. Come in with our back plate. Try to do this nice and quiet for y'all. Like that, and then the shorter spacers behind that, we're ready to install it onto the engine. All right, we're ready to install the bracket. Get our bolt holes lined up here. We're going to leave this finger tight. We want to leave it loose until we can get the compressor mounted. That way we avoid any binding in the installation. We'll install the compressor. We'll do the front bolts first. Capture them in 3 different locations. Now this bracket will work with a 508 sanding compressor, or what we sell is actually the 709. It's a 7-cylinder version of the same bracket, a little higher capacity, a little smoother operation. We'll capture these on the back with our flange nuts, and then we'll switch shots and show you how to mount it up on the rear. We're ready to put the bolt in the back. Now we've made this hole here oversized. The reason why we've done that is we're going to tighten everything up on the front, and we want this to remain nice and loose so that there's no binding in the bracket. So we've oversized that. The clamping force of the bolt is going to be enough to hold it in place, and we have 3 stabilizing it in the front. So I'm going to leave these bolts really loose so that after we do a torque process on the front, we can actually wiggle these and make sure that when we installed it, that this is still free to move. So what we're going to do is we're going to snug the 3 bolts onto the bracket. So we're going to square the compressor to the bracket. I like to start down here at this one because it's actually the tightest tolerance to the pulley. And we have a 17 millimeter on the front, 15 on the back. Then we'll just go around the horn here and get the front. We are leaving the back loose at this time, and we will switch over, and now we're going to actually tighten up the main bracket. We're going to take the compressor and lift it up. You see how it's hanging there, lots of weight on that. Let's take the weight off of that and then tighten this down here and get your pulley lined up, your tube, lined up there so it looks nice. Get that tight, switch over to our other size. Get that tight there. Now we have squared the bracket to the cylinder head, and we've already squared this here. That's going to give us a great chance of this being really true and having no problems whatsoever. Now, look at that, nice and loose in the back. We can come around here and get these tightened up, and then we'll go through a torque process. We're going to torque the bracket to the cylinder head first. For these, both 7/16 and 3/8, we're going to use 25 foot-pounds. Now we'll switch over to the compressor. This will be a 10 millimeter bolt, so we're going to jump up to 37 foot-pounds of torque. Get that set there. Sometimes you can get away with this not turning on the back, but most of the time you're going to have to grab your wrench and come in here and get it done. Once again, we're going to the front first. We'll flip around and do the back side. I'll have to switch around which one I'm using there. All right, let's move on to the next step. We're going to take our 12 millimeter bolt and bring it in from the rear, and I do want you to bring it in from the rear. We'll load up our idler mount, our idler pulley, and our flange nut. Now this flange nut gives a nice smooth seat to this bearing, and it doesn't dig into it, risking tearing it up. 12 millimeter bolt, we're going to torque that down to 50 foot-pounds. Next, we're going to install the tensioner pulley. It has these two bosses here, which line up here and here. Take our 10 millimeter bolt, install it just like so, flange nut on the rear. 10 millimeter bolt, 37 foot-pounds of torque. Now I want to draw your attention to this. This is a tensioner shim. It comes in the kit. We don't want you to install it to begin with. We've seen some variation in these pulleys, and so it can make the belt run a little bit forward or aft. So if your belt is looking like it's getting ready to run off the front, that's the time to add this. But to start with, most of the time it runs dead true, but we've given you just in case there's a variation. We have the belt installed here. We do a good job in the installation instructions of calling out a belt for you to use, but the most important thing is going to be looking at these tensioner marks here. One other thing I'll note is there's a 7-groove compressor. We're going to be on the back 6 side of that, but the 8-groove that Kwik Performance sells, the genuine Sanden, has an 8-groove pulley. You'll be in the middle 6 grooves of that. Let's take a look at these tensioner marks. On the bottom of the tensioner arm here, there's an indicator, and then there's 3 indicators on the base of it. You want one that's on more of the tight side, so as this belt stretches and sets down into the grooves, all effectively making it longer, you still have plenty of tension on your belt. Thank you for watching this Kwik Performance installation video. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to us. We do want to help. You can email us or give us a call. And if you have any pictures of your install, we'd love to see them to share on social media or even on our website. Thanks.